Yes. So that shows vertebrates are bilateral symmetry. They have bilateral symmetry. So they are body symmetry. So they are well developed brain and sensory organs, close circulatory system with the heart. So now let's look at the unique characteristics of each classes. Pisces. So the habitat of fishes is aquatic, and aquatic can be freshwater, marine, and what? And estuarine. So you can have estuarine. So the body of fishes is covered with scale. So they have limbs. There are limbs. In animal, you say animal have 4 limbs. In humans also, the hand will serve as the forelimb, F-O-R-E, and the leg will serve as the hind limb, that's H-I-N-D. So they have fins for locomotion, that's movement. They have respiration, gills for respiration. So fishes has 2 chambered hearts. That's one auricle and one ventricle. Fishes have 1 ventricle and 1 auricle. So auricle is the same thing as atrium. So, and the type of circulation in fishes is single circulation. We have 2 types of circulatory system. We have open and closed circulatory system. So open circulatory system is common in the invertebrates like arthropods. So why which they have the cavity hemocoel, so and the blood hemolymph. I told you that last class. Why in the vertebrate has closed circulatory system. So under closed circulatory system, we still have single and double circulatory system. But human being has double circulatory system of closed circulatory system. So why fishes have single circulatory system under closed circulatory system? I hope that is clear. So the reproduction, fertilization occur externally in fishes. That is, the fishes, the female fish will lay egg inside water, and the male fish will pour sperm on it. Then the body type of the fish, they are poikilothermic. It's also called ectothermic, poikilothermic. You see majorly in the options, you see cold-blooded and you see poikilothermic. So cold-blooded animal. So these are cold-blooded animal. Example as tilapia fish, shark, salmon fish, and catfish. So that's class Pisces. Then class amphibia, they are referred to as amphibians. They can live from the word amphibia. That means they have dual life. They can live both in land and in water. They can live on land and in water, but whenever they want to reproduce, they will go back to water. That's when you see a frog, the female frog will be making sound in the water. So, and the male frog on the land, we have to go to the water. So when the female frog make that sound, so the male frog will come to the water and mount on the back of the female frog. So they will now be swimming on the surface of the water. So that is called mating in frog. So while the female frog is laying the eggs on the water, and the male frog on the female the back of the female frog will be pouring sperm. So that's external fertilization also in amphibia. So they have moist and glandular skin without scales. So frog is for us that we understand Yoruba. So frog is the concord, while toad is opolo. So toad has poison gland, so that's why it's not edible. Why frog does not have poison gland? So that one is edible. Is the one that the body is smooth. So, but the body of the toad is rough. It has rough skin. So they have 4 limbs and they have web feet. So majorly in the frog. Respiration is by gills. That's their that's their their young stage. It is called the young stage of amphibia. It is called what? Who can tell us?
Tadpole.
Tadpole. So tadpole use gills. So why the adult ones, they use lungs and skin. So they use lungs when they are on the land. You know, we said they have dual life. They can live on land. So they can respire on land. That's why fishes doesn't have lung. They only have gills. That's why they cannot survive on land. Why frog and toad, they have lungs. That's why they can survive on land. So they also have what? They can use skin for respiration. So skin for respiration in amphibia is called cutaneous respiration. While lungs for respiration in amphibia is called pulmonary respiration, and gills. They can also use mouth. Which is called buccal respiration. So that shows that the adult one has they can carry out 3 types of respiration: with lung, called pulmonary respiration; with skin, called cutaneous respiration; and with mouth, called buccal respiration. Why the small one, which is tadpole, even tadpoles still have tails, so they are like small fish, the shape of small fish, so they have gills for respiration. So now, how many chamber of heart? Okay, don't worry, I'll ask later. They have 3-chambered heart, and they have double circulation. If you are not seeing my screen, that shows it might be from your side. It might be from your side. Anyone again who is not able to see my screen? Is there anyone again? So as I've said, the male toad or frog will mount on the female and lay eggs in the water and pour sperm. So they are also cold-blooded animal. Is blurry. So if you have any problem, you can rejoin. So you can rejoin. So it might be your network. But let me ask from Lawal Rodia, how is my screen? Can you see it clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you're having any problem, just leave and rejoin. So you have of the amphibian, frog, toad, salamander, newt. So these are the 3 methods of respiration in amphibia. These are the 3 methods for the adults. So now the class Reptilia. The habitat of reptiles, mainly terrestrial. They have dry skin with scales. They have 4 limbs with claws. So some snakes are limbless. Snakes are limbless, so they don't have limbs like lizards, this turtle. So they use lungs for respiration. They have 3-chambered hearts. So except in crocodiles, that has 4. So crocodiles, among all the reptiles, it's only crocodile that have 4-chambered heart. The others have 3. So the type of reproduction that happens there is internal fertilization. So that is the egg is being fertilized internally. So they are also cold-blooded animal. For ectothermic example, a lizard, snake, turtle, like that. And also, there is something very, very important. Pisces, they are oviparous. They are oviparous. The meaning of oviparous means they lay eggs. So oviparous means they lay eggs. Amphibia also, they lay eggs, they are oviparous. So Reptiles also, they lay eggs. They are oviparous. They are oviparous. So organisms that lay eggs, they are called oviparous. But fertilization can occur externally or internally. So externally in both amphibians and Pisces, internally in reptiles to mammals. So now let's talk about aves. Those are birds. They are terrestrial, some are aquatic. Body covering. So they have feathers that cover their body. It's used for insulation. So it keeps their body warm. Now they have 2 forelimbs modified into wings. So their four limbs is modified into wings, and their 2 limbs is modified for what? For leg, for walking. So they have lungs for respiration, and they have 4-chambered hearts, double circulation. They have internal fertilization, that is, their eggs is being fertilized internally. So they lay eggs also, they are oviparous. So, but they are warm-blooded. So endothermic or homeothermic. So anyone. So their teeth is modified into beak. So they just peck their food. They have hollow bones. So the reason why they can fly is that they now have heavy bone. So they have light structure. So they have wing for flight. So pigeon, chicken, eagle, ostrich, they are example. Let me in the reptiles. So we have a particular organism which is not oviparous. It undergoes ovoviviparous. So that's the situation whereby the egg will hatch inside. So the egg will hatch inside. So that's oviparous. It is being undergone by snake. So snake does not lay egg like lizard, like others. So lizard will lay eggs, then it will incubate, then it will break, and the offspring will come out. But snake down, the egg will have shell, so, and it will break inside. So, and the organism will come out immediately. The offspring will come out. So that process is called ovoviviparous. So it's not oviparous now. So exceptional to snake. So now aves are also oviparous. Why mammalia are viviparous? Because they do not lay eggs, so they give birth to their young ones alive. So they have ear or fur covering the body. So we have 2 pairs of limbs. So we have the hand and the leg. We have 4 chambers of heart also. So they are viviparous, that is, we give birth to young one alive, except in monotremes. Monotremes are egg-laying mammals. So we have some mammals that lay eggs. So like platypus, buck-bride platypus, and we have kangaroo also. So they have pouch mammals. They are called pouch mammals. They have pouch for carrying their offspring. So they have mammary gland for nourishing, secret mix for nourishing the young one. So warm-blooded mammals, class mammalia are warm-blooded. Example, human, cow, bat. Bat is mammal. Whale is also mammal. So lion, like that. So this is the summary of the classes under vertebrate. So I think we are stopping there. Now let's go to today's business. Let's start today's business. So under forms and functions in JAMB syllabus, so we have the topic internal structure of a flowering plant. So the internal structure of a flowering plant are studied using transverse section viewed under microscope. The meaning of transverse is horizontal, while longitudinal is vertical. So transverse section is horizontal section. So we have under internal structure of a flowering plant. Flowering plant, Who can tell me the name given to flowering plants in biology? The name given to flowering plants in biology.
Kingdom planté.
No. Flowering plant. We have flowering plants and we have non-flowering plants. We have seed plants, we have seedless plants. So flowering plants are called what?
Angiosperm.
Angiosperm. So that's why we did evolution among animals and plants now. So seedless plants, they are called what? Seedless plants.
Pharmacophyte.
Eh? Seedless plants. Pteridophyta.
Pteridophyte.
What of seed plants? Plants that have seed.
Spermatophyte.
Spermatophyta, abi? Yes. So and they are now divided to flowering plants and non-flowering plants. That's angiosperm and what? And gymnosperm. Gymnosperm naked seed or non-flowering plant. So now under flowering plants, under angiosperm, we have we have monocotyledon and dicotyledon now, abi? So the plant is now, we said that this the phylum Tracheophyta, they are differentiated into true roots, true stem, and true leaf. So now we see that three things are found under the internal structure of flowering plant. So we now see that roots, we now have root structure, we have stem structure, and we have leaf structure. So we have leaf structure. Now, as we've said, under angiosperm, which is flowering plants, we have monocotyledon and dicotyledon. So we'll be referring to that. Now, transverse section of a typical root. So this root will have monocotyledous roots. We have it will now be shortened into monocot. Monocotyledous monocot is shortened to monocot, while the dicotyledous is shortened to what? Dicot. So a typical dicot root will contains the following. So we have dicot root and we have monocot root. We also have dicot stem and we have dicot root. I'm coming. So let's look at the anatomical structure or the features of monocot root. So example of plant that is monocot is maize. The structural features of monocot root. We are still going to look at the diagram. So epidermis. Epidermis is the outermost layer. Anything you heard about epiderm, the outermost layer of a structure. So it's also referred to as piliferous layer, the epidermis. The single layer of a thin-walled cells. So it bears root ears for absorption. That is the root now, the monocot root. It has epidermis as which is called piliferous layer. So it bears root for absorption. We are still going to look at the structure, the diagram. So it has cortex. So cortex is being made of parenchymal cells. So look at this also. And what's the function of cortex? So we say that this epiderm is the outermost layer of the what? Of the monocot root, which bears root ears for absorption, absorption of minerals and water. So now another structure in monocot root is cortex. So it's made of parenchymal cells. We know what parenchyma is soon. What's the function? It's stored food and water. Also, in the inner part of the monocot root, we have another structure called endodermis. So endodermis has Casparian strips for controlling water movement also. We also have which give rise to lateral roots. Now we also have vascular tissues in the inner part of the monocot root. I've told you whenever you have heard about vascular tissues, vascular bundle, so they are majorly referring to xylem and phloem. So in some cases, it will be joined with cambium, vascular cambium. So we also have pit, and we also have cambium. So cambium is absent in monocot. So cambium is absent in monocot. So we have looked at monocot roots now. Let's look at dicot root. Like we are on root structure now. We'll still go to stem structure before we go to leaf structure. That's just like root, stem, and leaf. So we have looked at monocot root. Let's look at dicot root. So example of dicot plant is beans. So it has epidermis, endodermis, pericycle, vascular tissues. So it has cambium because secondary growth. The meaning of secondary growth means the thickening of what? Of a stem, like thickening and widening of what? Of a stem, of the cambium. So that's secondary growth. It only occurs in dicot plant. So also let's look at monocot stem. Example of monocot plant, that's maize. So we have epidermis, hypodermis, ground tissue, vascular bundles, xylem and phloem, like that. So let's quickly go and look at this dicot stem. So let's quickly look at this the structure, so that when we see that structure, we'll now look at the functions in details. So I will not just go to the structure like that. We have to pick some things here. So this anatomy of flowering plants. Can you tell me what's the meaning of anatomy? What's the meaning of anatomy?
The study of plant and animal.
No.
Structure.
Anatomy is the
study
okay.
of plant and
Study
internal.
of
And the internal structure.
It's the study
The
of
study
internal
of
structure.
flowering plants.
Oh,
Anatomy is the study of internal structure of living organism. Why physiology is the study of functions of the internal structure. So that's the difference between anatomy and physiology. So anatomy and morphology, they are similar. Morphology is like physical appearance, just like phenotype. So the tissues. So as we know, a tissue is a group of cells having is a group of specialized cells that perform what? Similar functions. So a plant is made up of different kind of tissues. So that's why we have the topic supporting tissues in plants. Supporting tissue, supporting system in plant. So plant is made up of different kind of tissues. So tissues are classified into two main groups. Just try to jot some things down. So two main groups, namely the meristematic tissue and the permanent tissue. So the meristematic tissue, these are classified based on whether they are capable of dividing or not. So meristematic tissue, they are actively dividing tissue. While permanent tissue, they cannot divide. So if you look at meristematic tissue, so they are the region of actively dividing cell. Like meristematic tissue, Jam used to ask this question, so that they will write meristem. So which of these tissue can divide? so it's meristem. Or they will say that the actively dividing tissue is known as, so it's meristem. So it is the site of cell division. And we also have this meristem occurs at the tips of the roots and shoots. Shoot is the uppermost part of the plant. That's the apex. It is called shoot. Why the root? So it's the one inside the soil. So the tip of those roots, if you want to perform the practical on cell division, you can use onion roots. You peel the onion, you put it, you pour water in a beaker, you now place onion on the beaker, you leave it for a day in a dark cupboard. So you see that the root will have grown. So if you cut the root into ethanol and make this, you see the different type of mitotic division there. So you see where the what, where the like the mitotic division, mitosis, where it happens, you see where the spindle fibers, you see all those things, you see it physically. So because it is the tips of the roots, so and also the tip of the shoot, cell division occur there. So this is called what? Meristem. The tip of the shoot is called apical meristem. That's the apices, apical meristem, and produce primary tissues. So the meristem which occur at the tips of the roots and shoots and produce primary tissues are called apical meristems. Note that. So this is the apical meristem. This is the of the roots. This is the shoot. So they are actively dividing cell. So let's continue. So we have different kind of meristem. So the meristem which occurs between mature tissues is called intercalary meristem. So the meristem which occurs between mature tissues is called intercalary meristem. So, and both apical meristem and intercalary meristem are referred to as primary meristem. So now the meristem that occurs in the mature regions of roots and shoots of many plants, so particularly those that produce woody axis, appear later than primary meristem. So they are called secondary or lateral meristem. So they are the meristem that what they are formed woody axis. So they have mature region than just the root and shoot, which is the intercalary meristem. So we have vascular cambium, cork cambium. They are responsible for producing secondary tissue. They are responsible for secondary growth. Cambium, anywhere you see cambium, is the function is that it's responsible for secondary growth. And permanent tissue. So permanent tissue does not divide. So it is being made up of simple tissues and what? And complex tissues. So let's look at simple tissues. Under simple tissues, we have three types. We have the parenchyma cells or tissue, we have the collenchyma cells or tissue, and we have the sclerenchyma cells or tissues. So this is the diagram. This is diagram of parenchyma tissue, this is collenchyma tissue, and this is sclerenchyma tissue. So these are simple tissues. So at the beginning of this class, so I think at the beginning of this PDF, I said we have permanent tissues and we have meristematic tissues. So it's that meristematic tissue that we'll talk about shoot and root apical meristem. So this permanent tissue now is now divided into two: simple tissues and complex tissues. And I said that the simple tissues are what? Parenchyma tissues, collenchyma tissues, and sclerenchyma. So for complex tissues, so complex tissues are xylem and what? And phloem. So xylem and phloem constitute the complex tissue in plants. So now, for this to be more simpler, I hope you are following me.
Yes, sir. We are following you, sir.
Okay. So let me just let me go to where I have the parenchyma coming. I have them here. Okay. Now, so the supporting tissues in plants. So types of supporting tissue, like this is the combination of simple tissues and complex tissues like that. So collenchyma, parenchyma, collenchyma, and what? And sclerenchyma. So let's look at collenchyma first. So collenchyma are living cells. They are unevenly thickened. They are present in what? In the cell wall. That's why they function as what? To provide support, mechanical support and flexibility to the plant. They are found beneath the epidermis of young stem and leaf stalk. Now, sclerenchyma, they are made up of dead cells. So they are thick and they have lignified walls. They also provide support. They provide rigid support. So they have types of cells, which is called fibers and sclerid. Sclerid and fibers. So they are found in stems, around vascular bundle, and seed coats. So now the parenchyma tissue now is found. So parenchyma tissue, the function is that it function in storage, and it also undergoes photosynthesis. So let's continue here. Can you see under simple tissue, which is parenchyma here? So parenchyma forms the major component within organs. So can you see the function of parenchyma cells? So this is what you need. It performs various functions like photosynthesis, storage, and secretion. So you know now that parenchyma is an example of what? Of permanent tissue under simple tissue. So you have parenchyma tissue. So that functions at photosynthesis, storage, and secretion. We are still going to look at the structure in general. So the second one is collenchyma. It occurs in layer below the epidermis in dicotyledonous plant. So collenchyma is found in what? Dicotyledonous plant. Now, what's the function of collenchyma? It contains chloroplast also. So, and what's the function of chloroplast? For photosynthesis. And provide, the major function of collenchyma says that they provide mechanical support to the growing part of the leaf, such as the young stem and petiole of a leaf. Now, that's collenchyma. Let's look at sclerenchyma. Now, it consists of sclerid and fibers. What's the function of sclerenchyma? So sclerenchyma are majorly commonly found in fruits, walls of nuts. So that's why they are found in the cell wall of a plant. So they provide mechanical support to the organ. So the complex tissue, majorly xylem and phloem. Xylem function as conductive tissue for water and minerals from the roots to the stem and to the leaves and other part of the plant. That's the major function of xylem tissue, which is a type of complex tissue. So, and under xylem tissue, we have two types of cell. We have tracheids and vessel. Tracheids and vessel. So, there are cells under xylem. So, this is vessel. Now, let's look at phloem. So, we have primary xylem, which is of two types, protoxylem and metaxylem. So the first formed primary xylem is called the protoxylem, while the later formed primary xylem is called the metaxylem. So phloem transports food material, usually from the leaves, because that's where the food is being manufactured, in the leaf. And it will now send it to the roots, another part of the plant. So phloem cells, we have cells under phloem. We have companion cells and sieve tube and companion cells under the phloem tissue. So these companion cells and sieve tube. So those are the tissue system. Let's quickly look at coming. The epidermal tissue system. So I said anytime you heard of epidermal, it means outer part of the plant body. So the epidermis is the outermost layer of the plant body. It is made up of elongated, compactly arranged cells. So for example, now we can have sclerenchyma tissue in the epidermis, because it gives support and rigidity to the plant. So the outside of the epidermis is often covered with waxy cuticle, waxy thick layer called what? Cuticle. So this is one of the structure that plants in deserts they use to prevent loss of water through transpiration. So who can give me an example of plant that we can find in desert? Like cactus plant. Yes, cactus plant. So they have waxy cuticle to prevent loss of water. So also we have stomata, which are present in the epidermis of the leaf. And stomata is what? Is for respiration in plants, right? So they are found in the epidermis of the leaf. Stomata regulates the process of what? Transpiration and gaseous exchange in plant. So this stomata, the structure is divided like we have. Stomata is the plural of stoma. Stoma is one. Stomata is two. So each stoma is composed of two bean shaped cells known as guard cells. So and let's look at the structure. You know, we say stomata is what? Is the organ that perform transpiration and what? Gaseous exchange in plant. So look at this. This is one stoma. This is another stoma. So both of them now, they are called stomata. So here, so we have cells in each stoma, which are called what? Guard cells. Like, can you see that this one is like bean shape? They are called guard cells. So the whole ear is called stomata aperture, and the cell that covered the guard cell this part. So it's called the subsidiary cells. So look at outermost part here. So it's called the epidermal cells. So you can see this green circular thing inside the guard cell. So that's the chloroplast. And chloroplast also has its own structure also. Let me quickly take us through the structure of chloroplast, because it's also it is essential also. Structure of chloroplast. So that's chloroplast that have the green pigment chlorophyll in it. So this is the structure that is present in plants. So you have the outer membrane, intermembrane space, inner membrane, stoma. So can you see stoma? We have thylakoids. So one circular part here is called thylakoid, but the pack is called granum. So the one that joins the thylakoids together is called lamella. So and inside the thylakoid we have the lumen. So we have the lumen. This is the shape of. So you may be given diagram of chloroplast and you ask, they will not write this labeled part. They will just write 1, 2. The part labeled 1 is what? The part labeled 2 is what? So you should take note of this diagram of chloroplast. So that's chloroplast. I hope you are following me. I hope you are following me. So the root ears are unicellular elongation of epidermal cells and helps to absorb water and mineral from the soil. So root ears helps to absorb water and minerals from the soil. So now let's come to the ground tissue. The ground tissue consists of simple tissue such as parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. So the parenchymatous cells are usually present in the cortex, pericycle, pit, medulla res, like that. In the primary stem and roots, in the leaves, the ground tissue consists of thin-walled chloroplast containing cells, which is called mesophyll. So now let's look at the structure of the vascular tissue. The structure of the vascular tissue. We are coming back to this now. So this is where we are going. This is where we are going. Now, this is dicot root. This is monocot root. These are the two major things here now. So in this whole topic, the very, very important aspect is what? Is this diagram. The monocot root, dicot root, and the diagram of the structure of the leaf. So now, this is a monocot, this is a dicot root. Comparison between a dicot root and monocot root. A is dicot root, while B is monocot root. Can you see the shape? This shape is like a star. It's like, so the shape of inside the dicot root. Look at, anytime you are given a diagram, you want to know, maybe it is a root or stem diagram. So you look at this. So this is the root here. I know, can remind me the function of root here also again. I've just said it not quite long ago. The function of the root here.
Absorption of water for nutrients.
To absorb water and mineral salt from the soil. So now let's look at the diagram of a dicot root. This is the root here. This is the epidermis. And you know the epidermis, the outermost layer. What can we find in the epidermis? We can find the tissue like sclerenchyma to give support and rigidity. So look at the cortex in between the epidermis and the endodermis. That's where we have the cortex. So all this part is the cortex. So now, after the cortex in the inner, we have the endodermis. Endodermis is the inner, epidermis is outer. So we have pericycle. Just take note of these structures. Just take note of those structures because you might be given this diagram and you will ask to what to tell where there's endodermis, where there's. So we have in the dicot root, protoxylem and metaxylem is being separated. The first xylem is called what? Protoxylem, and the later formed xylem is called metaxylem. So we have pit structure and we have what? We have phloem. So this is the dicot root. This is the root structure. Now let's come to monocot root. Look at the differences between dicot root and monocot root now. So if you see this diagram, you see something like this, see something like this. Look at this one now. How many do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Like the xylem, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many do we have here? How many vascular bundles do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Even 8. So you know that, okay, it is monocot root that used to have like up to 8. But in dicot root, we don't used to have up to 8, like 4. We used to have like 4. So you can see this is the phloem and this is the xylem. So I will show you. Let me show you the phloem and xylem. This is the xylem, the one that has this protruding shape, posterior shape. So this is the xylem, this is the phloem. So can you see? Can you see? So that you're able to recognize it. So in between the xylem and phloem, in some structure, we have cambium, and that cambium is responsible for secondary growth, vascular cambium. So our cambium is only present in dicotyledonous plants. Only dicotyledonous plants. That's why we have cambium. Dicotyledonous stem. That's where we have cambium. Just take note. So you can see look at the dicotyledonous root that we'll look at. This dicot root, this one is dicot root. Now look at it. The outermost layer is epidermis. So we have, after the root here, we have the epidermis and we have the cortex. The cortex consists of several layers of thin-walled parenchymal cells. Who can tell me the function of parenchymal cell? Parenchymal cells.
Photosynthesis, storage, and
storage and secretion, right? So
yes.
Now the innermost layer of the cortex is called what? Endodermis. And where is the endodermis? This is the endodermis. Now the endodermal cell, it have a deposition of water, which is impermeable suberin in the form of Casparian strips. So JAMB did not used to ask this. So now another thing after endodermis is the what? The next to endodermis, there is a layer of thick wall of parenchymal cells, refers to as what? Pericycle. Pericycle. So look at, is this pericycle that initiates the lateral root and vascular cambium. So vascular cambium, its function during secondary growth, vascular cambium. So and we also have the pit and the phlegm. So what's the function of xylem and what's the function of phlegm? What's the function of xylem? What's the function of phlegm?
Xylem transports water and minerals to
From what?
from the
From
root
where?
to the
From the root.
from root
To
to the
where?
stem
To
to the
the
stem.
from the root pass through the stem to the leaf. It's from the roots
Okay.
to the leaf, but it will pass through the stem before you get to the leaf. So and to other part of the plant. Why phlegm? What's the function of phlegm?
Phlegm transports food
Food.
from the
It transports, it translocates manufacture food. From where? From the root to what? To the no, from the leaf, because that's where the food is being manufactured through photosynthesis. Phlegm transports the manufactured food from the leaf to the root, another part of the plant. Now, there's something very, very important. The leaf is refers to as the source, while the root is refers to as the sink. Now, if you then now is to call it source sink relationship. Source sink relationship. If I say that food is being manufactured in the source and being transported from the source to the sink. So source and sink. Source means what? Source means what? Leaf. The leaves. Why sink means what? The root. So the structures that you have here, so it's the same thing that you have here. It's just like the diagram is different. Can you see the number of xylem and phlegm that is here? Now you see, can you see this side? So let's look at the functions of the part now. Functions of the part of the dicot root and monocot root, and even the differences of what? Of the TS means transverse section. Let's look at the functions of these structure features, and let's look at the differences between dicot root and monocot root. So now this, you can see this applies to both monocot and dicot roots, so unless stated otherwise. So this is the function of structural features of root. We are still dealing with root now, we are not going to stem. Are you with me? You have seen the structure now, you have seen the part labeled. We want to look at the functions now in details. This is the epidermis. It's also called what? Piliferous layer. You have seen the structure, Abi, after the root here. So you see the epidermis. So what's the function of the epidermis? Is process the roots. Root here, you know the root here is attached to the epidermis. Yes or yes? So, and the root here it functions to absorb water and minerals from the soil. It increases the surface area for absorption. So after the epidermis, what's the next? Cortex. Can you see how it is being arranged? So what's the next thing? The next thing is cortex. The function of cortex is that it stores food materials. So mainly starch. Plants store glucose as starch. So it allows movement of water from the epidermis to vascular tissues, xylem and phloem. It provides slight support also. Then after the cortex is what? Endodermis. So what's the function of endodermis? It regulates entry of water and mineral into the vascular tissue. You know what vascular tissue means now. So Casparian trips prevent backward flow of water because it contains a structure impermeable that is impermeable to water, which is called suberin. Suberin. So ensure selective absorption. So after the endodermis is the what? Is the pericycle. So the pericycle give rise to the lateral roots. The lateral roots. In dicot roots, helps in formation of pericycle, helps in formation of vascular cambium during secondary growth. So anywhere you see secondary growth, it has to do with dicotyledon. Anywhere you see vascular cambium, it has to do with secondary growth. I hope that is clear. So then xylem now, it conducts water and dissolved mineral salts, provide mechanism of water, upward movement of water. So phloem is transform manufacture food from photosynthesis to from the leaf to other part of the plant. So peat store food material. It provides internal structure, internal support. Peat is large in monocot roots. That's one of the differences. Peat is large in monocot roots and it is small or absent in dicot root. So let's look at the structure again. So look at the peat. Look at the peat. So here, so look at the peat. So let's look at we have looked at the functions of the fissures now, of dicot root and monocot root. Let's look at the differences. Okay, it is in between monocot root and monocot stem. Okay. So the major difference is that whenever you see this, and you see the number of xylem here, and you see the number of xylem here, you know that this is dicot root, is one that doesn't have numerous xylem, and the monocot root has like up to 8. Let me see if I can see more. Okay. So now look at what you are saying now. So let's go to stem. So we have looked at monocot root and dicot root. Let's go to stem now. This is dicot stem. The first thing too is the epidermis. Epidermis is the outer layer of the stem, you know. So after the epidermis, we have the what? We have the hypodermis. Is hypodermis present in root structure? Is hypodermis?
No, sir.
No. We have come to stem structure now. So the epidermis is the outermost protective layer of the stem. It is covered with a thin layer of cortical. It may bear trichomes and a few stomata. So the cells arranged in multiple layers between epidermis and pericycle constitute the cortex. That is between the epidermis and the pericycle. So these cells, these tissues collenchyma, parenchyma, so that are in between the endodermis, that are in between the epidermis and pericycle. They make up the cortex. They make up the cortex in stem. Can you see now that you don't have a part labeled cortex in stem here? Can you see? You don't have the part labeled cortex. But if you look at the roots, you see the part labeled cortex. But instead of we to have cortex, it has been filled with what? Cells like collenchyma, parenchyma, and endodermis. So after the endodermis, we have pericycle. So we have the phloem, we have this and this, they are the same thing. You can see. So this is A. So this is just the longitudinal and this is just the transverse. So this is the A part is what? Is the dicot stem, and B is monocot stem. So this one and this one, they are dicot stem. So now when we are looking at stem, can you see cambium? Can you see that we have vascular cambium? So we have it above the vascular tissue. So which is we have it between the vascular tissues, which is phloem and what? And xylem. The first xylem and the first xylem is protoxylem and second xylem is metaxylem. So we have vascular vascular cambium between it. So the type of structure that JAMB will give you, so is this. Whenever you see something like this, so you'll be able to differentiate. This is a dicot stem. Whenever you see something like this, you see something like this, you see something like this structure. Can you see that the pit is big? So this is a dicot stem. So we have medulla rays between what? Between the vascular tissues. Vascular bundle is what? Okay, who can tell me this part? This part, I'm coming. This part and this part. Let me say 1. Let me say 2. The part label 1 is what? The part label 1 is what? Who knows it? The part label 1.
Xylem.
No. That's why if you are following me, I've showed you the structure of xylem and phloem and how this. Look at it now. Xylem is the one that has pointed end here. This is phloem. They are together. So look at xylem now. Look at phloem. So let me now come to the image again. The part label 1 is what?
Phloem.
Phloem.
Phloem. What of the part label 2 is xylem? That's how you see it in your JAMB. So they'll just point here at the middle here. So it's called the what? The pit. You have looked at the function also. So now the outermost layer of the dicot stem, it has some structure like root. It's called epidermal ear. Epidermal ear. Can you see? So, and the layer that follows it, who can tell me this layer? This layer, 3. The part labeled 3 is what? So I'm testing you like that. The part labeled 3 is what? Oh yeah. Answer.
Epidermis is epidermis.
Epidermis. That's good. The part labeled 4 is what?
Cortex. Cortex.
Look at where I point. I pointed. Is cortex here? Is cortex in the dicot stem? It is hypodermis. So look at this part. Lipid 5. What's the name?
Parenchyma.
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 So parenchyma will come before the cholenchyma come before parenchyma. So cholenchyma also have another cell inside, which is called chlorenchyma. You still used to see it in some question in JAMB. Chlorenchyma. Have you seen it before? Let me write it. Chlorenchyma. So is the part rich in photosynthesis. Part rich in photosynthesis. So now this is called the part label 6 is what? The part label 6 is what? Part label 6.
Phloem.
No, here is not. I'm not pointing to here. This thing, this curve, this thing, that is pericycle.
Endodermis.
Yeah, I'm talking about this place. So we have mentioned the endodermis before. Now, this is the dicot stem. Let's now go to dicot root now. Or monocot root, like rather. I mean monocot stem. You have looked at dicot stem. Let's go to the monocot stem. Look at these two diagrams. 1, 2. Can you see that this one is dicot stem? This one is monocot stem. MS, monocot stem. DS, dicot stem. Can you see that there is differences? There are differences, Abby. So if you see this structure in JAM, even if they are not putting, they ask you to lay, they say that the diagram above represents, is it dicot stem, is it monocot root, is it like, you know? So this one now does not have epidermal here. Does not have epidermal here. So the vascular bundle, the xylem and phloem, they are inside. So they are inside one structure. So they are not separated. They are not free. They are closed. They are enclosed. So can you see the hypodermis, the epidermis? So the ground tissues. So this is where we have the parenchyma, cholenchyma, like that. So this is another type of structure. You see the same thing as monocot stem, epidermis, hypodermis, the vascular bundles here, xylem and phloem, the crown tissue. So now, and we have looked at this, the functions of this. Let's look at the function of here. So function of the structural features of stem. Epidermis is still the same function. Protection, reduce water loss due to cortical in the stem. So in the stem, protect the stem from mechanical injury, reduce water loss due to cortical, allows gaseous exchange through stomata when present. Hypodermis, provide mechanical strength. So in monocot stem, please give me a minute. Okay, let's continue. So yeah. So in monocot stem, sclerenchyma give rigidity. In dicot stem, cholenchyma provide flexible and support. So cortex store food, perform photosynthesis. Can you see if there's sclerenchyma? Endodermis store starch, pericycle provide mechanical support, vascular bundles. So we know the function of xylem and phloem before. So now in dicot stem, xylem is arranged in a ring for efficient conductor. While in monocot stem, it is scattered for strength. So let's look at it. It is scattered in monocot stem. So can you see it is scattered here? The xylem and phloem is scattered, but here it is being arranged. So can you see it is being arranged? Can you see how it is scattered here? It is scattered. Can you see how xylem and phloem is scattered? They are vascular bundles. It is scattered in monocot stem, but it is what? It is arranged in dicot stem. That's one of the differences between dicot stem and monocot stem. So cambium is only present in dicot stem. So it produces new xylem and phloem. You can see that we have cambium between phloem and xylem in this structure. Can you see that we have our cambium between the what? Between the xylem, phloem and xylem here. So, and the function of cambium, so it's one that is referred to as vascular cambium also. So it's responsible for what? Secondary growth. And the meaning of secondary growth is increase in thickness or GAT. Let's say GAT. Increase in thickness of GAT or diameter of the stem. So we have bundle sheet and pit. Pit store food and water. So it is large in dicot stem and it is absent in monocot stem. So let's look at it. It is absent in monocot stem. It is large in dicot stem. Can you see pit as it is large in dicot stem? Where is pit in monocot stem now? There is no pit. So that's one of the differences. I hope you are following me. So these are the summary. Just note this. Epidermis is always for protection. Cortex is of storage and transport. Endodermis controls water. Pericycle from lateral roots. So secondary growth cambium, transport water, transport pit storage. So when you just pick this at your fingertips, so you quickly remember the functions. So now we have looked at root, stem, it remain leaf. Can we proceed? Have we looked at the spongy mesophy and okay, so it is in the leaf. So now let's look at the leaf structure. The leaf structure, the leaf lamina, it has this main part, the epidermis, the mesophy, and vascular system. So that's those things that we'll find in the leaf. So the epidermis is majorly the part that will cover, upper surface that will cover the leaf. So that's where we have the stomata, the basement stomata. So the tissue between the upper and lower epidermis is called what? Mesophyll. We have upper epidermis, we have lower epidermis. So the tissue between it is called mesophyll. And this mesophyll possess chloroplast and carry out photosynthesis. It is made up of parenchyma. So this parenchyma has two types of cell, palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. So let's look at the diagram of the leaf. So this is the diagram of the leaf. The dicot leaf and monocot leaf. So this A is for dicot. So if you see something like this, you can see that the xylem and phloem of this, they are in the middle. They are in the middle. But this one, they are at the left-hand side. So whenever you see the structure of this, you see the structure of this. I think JAM majorly use this and majorly use this. Just take note of this, what you are doing very well today, because next week now, from the beginning of this class, evolution of among plant and animals, to today. So in the next class, we are going to have like I'll project some question. You'll be answering it. I'll be asking you. So you do the revision again. So the first part here, the upper part, is what is the upper epidermis. So adaxia epidermis. So it's referred to as the upper epidermis, and we also have lower epidermis. It's called abaxia epidermis. So look at what did I call stoma? So stoma is a singular of what? Stomata. So this is what? This is stoma. This is substomata cavity inside this place. So we have ear cavity here. We have palisade mesophyll. We have spongy mesophyll. Then we have bundle sheet, xylem, and phloem. So look at it very well. This is the upper epidermis. This is the lower epidermis. Everything that is here, they are mesophyll. So look at where we have the stoma. So which consists of the guard cell that controls opening and closing of the stomata. We have substomata cavity. Note this very well, because Jan will give you this. So we have ear cavity at the middle here. After palisade mesophyll, under upper epidermis, we have ear cavity, spongy mesophyll. So we have this is the what? This is the phloem, and this is the xylem. So the one that houses the phloem and xylem, this one are the bundle sheets. These ones, they are the bundle sheets. So this is the diagram of what? Of a dicot leaf. So let's look at monocot leaf. Here is the upper epidermis. Here is the lower epidermis. We still have the what? The stoma. The gap between here is the stoma and the substomata cavity. We have the mesophyll. So we have the mesophyll here. So I think you've noted it now. You've noted the two structures, the dicot leaf and the monocot leaf. So now look at secondary growth we have been talking about since. The growth of the root and stem in length with the help of apical meristem is called primary growth. So apart from primary growth, most dicotyledonous plants exhibit an increase in guts. I've written it there. This is increase in the secondary growth. The tissues involved to lateral meristem, which contains of vascular cambium and cork cambium. So the cambial ring becomes active and begins to cut off new cells, both towards inner and outer. So they cut off towards the pit and mature towards what? Secondary xylem and secondary phloem. So the cambium can mature into what? Secondary xylem and secondary phloem. So now, look at secondary growth in dicot stem. Secondary growth in dicot stem. So here now, you can see that this is the what? This is the xylem, this is the phloem. In between it is the cambium now, is the vascular cambium. Let me use mine. So this part is the cambium, this part is xylem, this part is the phloem. So you can see it like that. This part is the epidermis, the cortex. So like that. This is the phloem is referred to as cork. Phloem is referred to as cork cambium, vascular cambium, and ferridam is referred to as cork cambium. Now let's come to look at the cells of secondary cortex are parenchymas. Phloem, phloem, and phloem are collectively known as peridam. So another name for phloem is cork cambium. And then another name for phloem is called cork. So JAMB can give you a diagram like this also. So this diagram is called lenticel. You know, this is that we look at diagram of the leaf structure then. So this one is called lenticels. So we have the cork cambium, we have the epidermis, and we have the secondary cortex here. So look at the back of a tree, the back. So lenticels are the holes that are the openings at the back of a tree, which is used for what? Gaseous exchange in most woody trees. So which are dicotyledon. Now, JAMB can give you something like this. So look at this diagram very well. Look at this diagram very well. So these different stages in secondary growth. The epidermis, the cortex. So the part that protrude from this star will be what? Will be the xylem. And inner will be the phloem. Now, so that is about, who can tell me how many cells? What are the cells present in what are the cells of xylem? What are the cells in xylem? Sclerids and fiber. Sclerids in xylem, sclerids and fibers. So in phloem, we have sieve tube and companion cells. Sieve tube and companion cells. So all these we look at, they are just supporting tissues in what? In plants. Supporting tissues in plants. So you can see, okay, in xylem, so we have vessel and tracheids. In phloem, we have sieve tube and companion cells. So can you see parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, xylem, and phloem? So now before we move to the next topic, next class, we'll quickly look at supporting tissues and system in animal. Supporting tissues and system in animals. So we can move to